Hello, we are Team 198, and for our checkpoint 3, we decided to implement section insights. So I'll quickly go over the 4 functions that we're expected to implement, which is add dataset, list dataset, remove dataset, and the graph visualization. So over to the right is the network tab, where I will show you whenever an action is performed. So quickly, in add dataset, let us show an instance where a dataset is successfully added. We'll just give it a name called pair, and here we're able to select different dataset kinds, but since it's section insights, we know it's sections. We click upload. We're prompted with a success message letting us know that the dataset has been added. And here in current datasets, we see that the ID pair that we just added appears under current datasets without reloading the page. On the right, in the network tab, we can see that sections has a put request that is successful with a 200 status code. So moving on, let us try to prompt an error. If we once again click upload dataset, this should give us an error since there is already a dataset with the ID called pair. So if we click upload, we're prompted with an error message, letting us know that the pair is already added and that duplicates are not allowed. And here we see that in current datasets, a duplicated dataset does not appear. And on the right in the network tab, if we click sections, we see that the put request method has a status code of 400, letting us know that it failed to add. Another error that can occur is if we give it a invalid zip file. So let's call this fail1 and click upload. So here we're prompted with a different failure message letting us know that no valid sections in dataset. In other words, this zip file is invalid. Once again, current datasets does not update with fail1. And on the right in the network tab, if we click sections, we see that the request method of put has a 400 byte request for its status code. So that is all for add dataset. Moving on to list dataset. Here, list dataset is just expected to show us every single dataset that we've currently added. So right now, since we've only successfully added the dataset ID of pair, there's only one element. Let us quickly add another. Call this small. Click upload. Here we see that small is successfully added and that current datasets updates without having to refresh the page. Over here on the right, we see that sections has a request method of put is 200 because we've just successfully added small, and that dataset has a request method of get, which is list dataset, has a status code of 200 OK as it's successfully updated. So moving on to remove dataset, we see here that under each or next to each dataset in current datasets, there's a big blue delete button. So if we wanted to delete the dataset with the ID small, we can click delete here. We're prompted with a pop-up window. So this is our first user story where we wanted to let users double confirm whether or not this is what they wanted to do in case they accidentally clicked delete. So if we click cancel, nothing happens, we're brought back to the page. But if we click OK, we're given a dataset deleted successfully message, and the ID of small is removed from current datasets without refreshing the page. And if we go over to the network tab, so small has a request method of delete with a status code of 200, and dataset is refreshed successfully. Moving on to the graph visualization. So here we're able to select a dataset. So let us select pair. Here we're able to choose a graph type between bar chart and line graph. This is our second user story, where we want to let users be able to visualize the data in their own way, because some data is better visualized through a bar chart, whilst others are better through a line graph. Suppose we wanted to see a bar chart. We're able to now choose an insight type. So there are 3 insight types that we can choose from. These are our other 3 user stories. So we have average grades over time, professor performance over time, and course pass rate over time. So we'll go through each one individually, starting with average grades over time. Once we've selected this option, we're prompted with 2 text boxes where we are able to enter the department and course ID. So let us do cpsc310. We click fetch data. And here a bar chart appears, showing us the yearly average for cpsc310 in these particular years. So suppose I wanted to see it as a line graph instead. All I have to do is click line graph and click fetch data once again, and it becomes a line graph. Moving on to the second insight type, which is professor performance over time, we're prompted to enter a professor's name. So let us enter a professor's name and click fetch data. Here we can see that there are 3 different data that are actually showing. So this green box is the instructor's yearly average across all his classes. The red box shows the average number of students who failed his classes in that particular year. And on the contrary, the blue box shows the average number of students who passed his classes in that particular year. Moving on to the last insight type, course pass rate over time. We're once again prompted to enter a department and course ID. So let's do cpsc310 again and click fetch data. So this shows us the percentage of the class, or the percentage of people who took cpsc310 in this particular year, how many of them actually passed. So in 2008, 99.5% of people who took cpsc310 passed the course. So on the other hand, we're able to deduce the failure rate as well. So far we've covered 5 different user stories. We've covered the delete confirmation window, the graph type, the 3 insight types. So our last user story is these text boxes right here that allow users to quickly query different courses or different professors for their information. So suppose as a user I wanted to see cpsc210 instead. I can quickly just change the course ID field to 210 and click fetch data, and now it displays the information for cpsc210, the pass rates in these individual years. So that covers all of our user stories, our 6 user stories. So in graph visualization, we've actually been performing queries, which is has a request method of post. So if we go to the right of the network tab, we can see that there are 6 different queries that we've just performed, and each of them have a status code of 200 that are okay. Thank you.